A mother, a teacher, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. All words describing Bianca Tanner. The Guilford County Schools teacher had just moved to Charlotte to live with her boyfriend, Angelo Smith. He's the one who reported her missing on June the 8th, and no one has seen her since. Now, while Smith has been in trouble with the law with other domestic violence cases, police have not named him as a person of interest in this particular case. But over the weekend, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police issued a warrant for his arrest. But it wasn't for Bianca's disappearance, no. 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe traveled down to Charlotte today to take a look at the warrant for himself. He's got the latest on the investigation.
Neighbors say this is his car in the driveway under wraps, but no one around here has seen Angelo Smith in over a week. What they have seen, police officers driving up and down this street checking to make sure he's not here at home. Sunday night, law enforcement issued a warrant for Smith. They alleged charges of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, something which shocked people living nearby.
It makes you wonder what kind of person he really was, but we don't know.
Well, from what you saw,
he seemed to be a fine dude. Wasn't a lot of people hanging out over there or anything like that. The neighborhood was still quiet.
2 Wants to Know is pushing for answers about if this charge is related to his missing girlfriend. I even showed up at the county courthouse to try and view the arrest warrant myself. But none of that paperwork is being released until law enforcement arrests Smith. Of course, 2 Wants to Know will continue to stay on the case and let you know about any new information we uncover. From Charlotte, Ben Briscoe, 2 Wants to Know.
2 Wants to Know is wondering about this particular charge and whether or not this is simply a step that police are taking to build a case against Angelo Smith. So we talked to a lawyer not working on this case to ask for an objective opinion. Mike Rich with Elon Law School said that it was contributing to the delinquency of a minor charge might be able to help restrict Smith if and when he posts bond. But really, he says it's like any other additional charge. The key point here, he said, was that police could keep better tabs on Smith's whereabouts if he is indeed a suspect, and the charge could increase the pressure on Smith to cooperate. We're going to stay on top of this case and continue to bring you updates. Imperfect justice in an imperfect world. Those are the words that a judge used to describe the outcome for Hassani Wesley. He died trying to get on his school bus. A driver hit and killed him. Hassani is gone. The first trial was a mistrial. And today, Bill Bailey, the driver who hit Hassani, accepted a plea deal to a misdemeanor charge with a 60-day sentence. An Elon Law professor estimates that plea deals account for 90 to 95% of all criminal cases. Hassani's family wanted a stiffer sentence. The driver believes that he is innocent. Again, imperfect justice in an imperfect world. Today's plea deal happened because of the mistrial in the first case that we told you about. And today we're learning more about the case in general. Our WFMY team has been digging deeper into 4,000 pages of paperwork that has just been released. We've learned that the woman driving the bus that the day Hassani died had made an illegal maneuver to pick him up. That bus driver also had a history of violations behind the wheel of the bus. And we found a school system employee acted improperly with witnesses of the case. News 2's Faith Abube has been on this story all day, and we'll continue to have more on WFMY News 2 at 6. Waiting. You know that it's part of life, but that does not mean that we have to like it or not try and figure out a way around it. 2 Wants to Know continues to stay on top of the wait times for veterans at VA facilities. The VA's goal is to see new patients in 14 days, but the longest wait in the nation? 145 days in Hawaii. In North Carolina, the wait ranged from 29 days in Salisbury to 83 days in Fayetteville. That's the highest in North Carolina. Now, one possible solution, let veterans schedule appointments with non-VA doctors and then bill the VA. But the Government Accountability Office, or the GAO, did a study on that. They found the VA doesn't collect data on wait times for vets going to non-VA doctors. So the VA wouldn't know if the wait for non-VA doctors is any shorter or not. And the VA can't assess the cost effectiveness of this non-VA care either. The GAO gave the VA recommendations to improve so that they could gather data and also that they could educate veterans on the claims process of getting non-VA medical care. The VA agreed with all the recommendations, but they haven't implemented them as of yet. How do you get 4 million people to hear your message? The formula seems to be simple. You mix math and science and cake. Check out this YouTube video of author Alex Bellows cutting a cake. The idea is to cut the cake so that leftovers will stay fresher longer. So he takes the middle sliver out, pushes the cake together, and then you know what he does? He puts a rubber band around it, and then you'd have to turn the cake and cut it in the middle again. Again, 4 million people have watched that YouTube video of him cutting the cake. So I asked Alex in a Skype interview about the response.
There's also a kind of hilarious backlash. People saying, no, this is completely wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to cut it like this. I'm just saying, look, here's a different way of doing it.
The English author didn't make up this cake cutting idea. He was working on a book when he stumbled upon a scientific formula for, well, cutting cake by Francis Galton. Never heard of him? Alex isn't surprised that you haven't heard his name, but he says you know his work and you know his cousin.
He's not a household name like Charles Darwin is, but he was actually Darwin's cousin, and he invented fingerprinting, he invented the weather map, he kind of invented statistics in lots of ways. So I was really fascinated by him, and then I saw that he was obsessed with tea and cake.
Alex says, yeah, this is all fun with the cake cutting, but there is proper science behind it. His real message really isn't about cake, though. He says it's about looking at things in a really different way. He says culture kind of just conditions us to do everyday things the same way every day, and we should challenge it, one cake slice at a time. He is a funny guy, and his most recent book is called The Grapes of Math. The rest of our interview on the website, along with the link to the entire cake cutting YouTube video as well. From fixing a cake to fixing things around your home, sometimes you need a handyman, but if you don't have the budget for that, what do you do? Money Man Matt Granite is welcoming us to a free club that can help save you a lot of cash and help you unleash your inner handy person.
Good evening, and yeah, a great evening if you're looking to save time and money on your next household repair. A website that does it all for you for free. Take a look. Welcome to the Fix It Club, where 24/7 help really is one click away. Free tutorials cover everything from heating and plumbing to garden and yard repairs. Using this website just this past weekend, I have already fixed a strange humming noise in my fridge's filter. I helped one of our viewers retrieve a stuck SIM card from her phone. And that was all using instruction manuals and great free DIY help that you can download on a dime. Now, if you're a beginner, you can tackle something maybe like an oil change for your car. If you want something more complex, well, there are plenty of projects and great ways to make yourself more useful. That's what I did. The link at WFMYnews2.com, all waiting for you in the Two Wants to Know section as we unleash your inner handy person. I can't even say it, but I can do it. Back to you.
An inner handy person, of course. Matt's made it easy for you to join this club. The deal is already posted in the Two Wants to Know section of our website, WFMYnews2.com. Two Wants to Know wants to help you save money in all sorts of ways. Sometimes that's just by stopping you from buying a product that doesn't work. So all this week, we're putting products to the test to save you time and, of course, money. Today, we're going to start with something that you, well, may have had with dinner, like, wine. Okay, let's say you can't finish the bottle of wine. Some people put a cork in it, or maybe they use one of these cute little stoppers here, but that really only works for a day or two. Brookstone says their wine preserver keeps it fresher for longer. So does it work? Jesse with our sister station in Seattle put it to the two test.
At J. Bookwalter, it's all about the dark woods and the red wine. But what if you can't finish the entire bottle if they're wonderful Cabernet?
We cork the bottle, we put it back in the fridge.
Kyle only stores wine for 2 days, at the most, because of oxidation.
The profile will change.
Never waste another drop of precious wine again.
To help get rid of those unsavory characters, there's the Brookstone Automatic Wine Preserver. I break out the device, and the first thing I notice is that the temperature gauge works great. For our test, Kyle will open 2 bottles.
I love that sound.
First up, the Brookstone Automatic Wine Preserver.
Press the button.
That sound is the pump, sucking out all of the air from the bottle.
It's quite the strenuous process.
The pump stops, and now we go old school.
Then on the other one, let's just shove a cork in it. So we'll take both bottles of wine, put them in the fridge, and we'll be back in 4 days. And we'll see how they taste.
Perfect.
Think that'll work?
I think it'll work.
Time's up, so let's pop the cork and release the wine preserver. Now it's time for the blind taste test with J. Bookwalter winemaker, John Bookwalter. His verdict?
You know, this one seems a little fresher to me than this one.
His choice? It's the wine poured from the bottle using the electronic wine preserver. John gives it a big thumbs up.
All right, so the Brookstone wine preserver costs $30, and the winemaker has one foolproof way to not need the preserver. They say finish the whole bottle of wine, but you know, that can't always happen, so you need that wine preserver. So the wine preserver works, but there are some other things you need to know to keep your wine fresh. We're going to share a couple of details on wine in 60 seconds. Heat is wine's #1 enemy. Temperatures higher than 70 degrees will age a wine too quickly. The ideal temperature for wine is between 45 and 65 degrees.
And we're learning more right now about that breaking news, the Alaskan earthquake that's registered a magnitude of an 8. That is a very strong, major earthquake. Here's where it happened. This was just within the last hour at 4:53 on the Aleutian Islands. Mainland Alaska is way over here. A large string of islands stretches almost across the entire Pacific Ocean. The earthquake happened almost toward the Russian side of these islands, so really farther away from mainland Alaska as you head over toward Russia. This was a magnitude 8.0. A tsunami warning has been issued as a result of this earthquake. Sometimes earthquakes of this size can create those tsunamis that travel across the ocean. Now, whether it does or not is still up in the air, but it's possible that that could happen. These things take a long time to travel, too, so I've drawn on a couple of lines here. This is a 3-hour line that would take that possible tsunami into the Alaskan coast. It wouldn't potentially reach, say, Washington State up until 6 hours from now. So this is still something we're going to be able to watch over the next couple of hours. We'll see if that in fact happens in Alaska, and then the west coast of the United States will have a better idea of what to expect in the meantime. Our weather still relatively quiet, dry air in place right now, high pressure in control. We expect a mainly dry evening here, and pleasant temperatures will kind of remain in place too. High temperatures today only reach the mid-80s, and I expect that to be the trend heading into tomorrow as well. But big changes, as you can see in the 7-day forecast. Tomorrow's high temperature at 84. We do go back into the 90s Thursday from Friday, so it does get hot in just a couple days.
All right, thanks so much, Tim. Let's catch you up on some of the day's top news headlines. We have Julie Luck and Frank Mickens in the Information Center. Frank, we're going to start with you because we're talking about that officer-involved shooting.
Yeah, I got a little more information. Today, we now know the name of the gunman and a lot more about the chain of events and how this happened. Sunday, investigators say Ray Barber's wife called 911. She told deputies her husband fired a shot and barricaded himself in a shed behind their house. Negotiations died when Barber's phone died. That's when, they say, deputies tell us, Barber started walking toward his house with a gun pointed at them. A deputy shot Barber, and he later died at the hospital. The officer is on administrative duty.
The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office released a new report on how state government officials handled the Jerry Sandusky child rape scandal. The report didn't find any evidence of politics playing a role, but the report said, quote, crucial missteps, inexplicable delays, and a lack of urgency played roles in the Sandusky case. Sandusky was convicted of raping children while an assistant football coach at Penn State. He is now serving a 30 to 60-year prison sentence.
We are halfway through the year, so what does your budget look like? A Gallup poll in June of 2013 showed that only 30% of Americans even use a budget. So if you're in that 30%, hey, good for trying, right? Okay, so now what? If we even do a budget, Matt Logan is here to tell us what the next steps are.
If you're even doing a budget, you're ahead of the curve. So my name's Matt Logan. I have an independent firm, Matt Logan Inc., with securities offered through Summit Brokerage Services, member of FINRA and SIPC, and advisory services through Summit Financial Group.
The first thing you do with a budget that you made out 6 months ago is to then kind of review it, but not just in dollar amounts. You say there's more than that to look at.
Right. You want to look at the categories and see, hey, was I way off? Is there unexpected expenses that weren't even in here? Just kind of look at it and see if it was realistic in the first place, if you can find it.
Right, if you can even find the budget, see if it's realistic. And it's okay if it's not, because then you can adjust. And when you look at the budget skeleton, you may have put everything where it should be, but then there may have been some unexpected surprises.
Right. I mean, does your car need new tires? Did you have to put in an HVAC system? These things are not things you budget for, but they happen, and was that what really threw off your budget? So you want to keep that in mind. You don't want to get completely discouraged.
And if that is the case, then maybe you do need to build in some emergency fund that you didn't have. Okay. Right. And even though it's summer, he wants you to give yourself a grade. That's right. Take a look at these budget grades.
Yeah, this is a way, you probably haven't had grades since maybe elementary school or college, but you want to make sure you're evaluating yourself with your budget. So are you being honest with yourself? Are you getting, if you made your budget, great job, you got an A. If the way I like to do it is if you're 10% over, would be a B, 20% over a C, and so forth. So. And
that is just to hold yourself accountable, because we all need to be held accountable. Okay,
correct.
And then we need to adjust from there, and then you say, forget about the budget?
Right, you don't want to, don't let it get to you. So you want to, while you grade yourself and look at it, you kind of got to forget about the past.
And start anew.
Right, like a good quarterback can forget about the interception and move on, and you want to just stay focused on working on it, but not
Don't
get
beat
too
yourself
upset.
up.
Right.
Okay, beat yourself up, move on, and then what's next after that? Matt has a few more ideas for your next steps. Take a look at those next steps. We've got them posted online for you right now. They're in the 2 Wants to Know section of WFMYnews2.com. Listen to this, 29% of online consumers' home computers have been hacked in the last year. That's a quarter of all of us using the computer. The first step to protecting your information is having the right password. Let's be honest here, right? Changing and remembering a bunch of passwords, it's just a pain. We're not going to do it. Consumer Reports offers a solution. Coming up. eBay is the latest in a growing list of companies whose data has been hacked, and a Consumer Reports survey found 1 in 7 of us were notified that our personal data had been breached in the past year. That's a 56% increase over the year before. Consumer Reports tests ways to help you keep your private information what it should be, private.
Cyber thieves are always looking for new ways to steal your personal data. One of the best ways to protect yourself online is using strong passwords. But who can remember all those passwords? Like many people, Virginia Deutsch can't.
Between my home and my office, I probably have 15 to 20 different passwords that I have to remember. And they get changed almost quarterly now. So sometimes I almost need passwords for my passwords.
One solution? Password managers. Consumer Reports' Dean Galley tested one called LastPass that keeps all your passwords in one place and says it's a good option.
LastPass saves your login ID and password for websites you've told it to, and the next time you go to that website, it fills it in for you.
But isn't LastPass also vulnerable to hackers?
LastPass stores your personal information in its secure online vault, and any communications between that vault and your computer are encrypted so that it makes it effectively unreadable even to a hacker.
You can download the service for free for use on your computer, or if you want the $12 a year premium service, you'll get access to LastPass on all your mobile devices. But some people, like Virginia, are too afraid to put their passwords in the hands of someone else. Another option? Create easy-to-remember, hard-to-crack passwords yourself.
A more secure password has at least 9 characters and has a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. You can use a core password that's easy to remember and then put characters ahead of it and after it to vary it for different websites.
Splashdata, a password management company, says, get this, 123456 is still the #1 password choice. Is that your password? It better not be your password. Consumer Reports says also avoid ordinary dictionary words that hackers can easily crack using software that tries just about every word. After all the recent retail security problems, one major chain is taking steps on their own to make sure that customer information is safe. Julie, let's talk about it.
That is correct, and it has nothing to do with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes, what it has to do with is it's not enough to be a member to get in. Well, Sam's Club is taking steps to change member cards for them. So how this works tonight at WFMY News 2 at 6.
All week long, we're going to be putting items to the 2 tests. So here's a sneak peek of what's coming up. Tomorrow, we're going to show you auto cool on those hot days. Wednesday, Consumer Reports test to see which long-lasting nail polish actually works. Thursday, the Flip Fold claims to make folding clothes easy, kind of like they do it in the stores, all nice and everything. And Friday, it's grilling on the go with the Easy Grill. Find out which ones work, which ones don't, which ones are worth your money and your time, all this week on 2 Wants to Know. Thanks for joining us for 2 Wants to Know at 5:30. WFMY News 2 at 6 starts now.